The month of July, well, we've already talked about the fact that it is in full swing. Our country is 250 years old. Doug is 56 years old. And where are we going to go from there? I don't know. I think we should talk about running backs tonight. Doug, what do you think? Or did I just throw you under the bus already?
Look, it doesn't take long to jump right into it. But here's the thing. We're running out of time. The season's only 6.5 weeks away. And all of
Man,
this time that we thought we had, we don't. So we have to jump into running backs and let them carry the load tonight.
I think they will definitely do that. You know, you mentioned this, and by the way, welcome to college football this week on this Sunday night. Doug Gann and Joey McWilliams with you here, and it's just us tonight, Doug. No guests tonight, although I thoroughly enjoyed the guests when we have them. We'll have a few more on, and I've actually talked with a couple of coaches this week who said, "Oh yeah, they'll stop by on a Sunday night." One of them even told me he'd stop by during the regular season. I thought that was pretty cool, Doug. So college football previews, by the way, Doug, back in full swing on Midwest Sportsnet as well, too. So you need to stop by and check that out because as of tonight, July 12th, 2026, we are 46 days away from Week 0 Thursday night. There is a true Week 0 this year, and so you definitely want to keep that in mind. It's not only that, Doug, not only that, there are like 30-some-odd games on Week 0. I mean, it's crazy. They're more than 30, actually.
It almost seems like they're adding games to it. You start looking at all of these games, and there's more and more of them. And I'm just telling you, we're here. You know, they start reporting back to camp on July 20th. So you're only 8 days away from everybody getting back on campus. And why is that important? Well, you'll finally start to get to see some of these true rosters make their way out because we're hoping and seeing. And these guys, the coach told me that you got to recruit twice. You got to recruit to get them committed. And you got to make sure they get there on July 20th. And then you really see who you have in fall camp.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There is no question. Hi, Dave. Hi, Charles. Charles, let me answer this question here really quickly then. Are you starting your previews with all of the Week 0 teams? Actually, no. And I'll tell you what some of the method to the madness on that, Charles. It's actually this. I'm trying to get as many as I can. I'd love to have 96 preview episodes. Doug, wouldn't that be cool?
That would be 96
preview episodes.
We only have 46 days. So.
Oh, listen, we double up. I have zero problem doubling up and tripling up and getting as many as we can to get some more out there. But I've made a lot of phone calls, made a lot of emails, all those things, and there are still some folks that are on, like admin's on vacation because I always go through the SIDs. And I have some coaches' numbers. Doug, I know you have coaches' numbers. Mm-hmm. I do have some coaches' numbers that I can call them, and sometimes I do to visit with them. They're friends, but I always try to go through the SID first because I think that's the proper route, and I want to honor those people who are doing their job so well, and the relationships are important. So some of them are still out for summer vacation and different things, and haven't gotten back to me on all of them. So we're just getting them as they come in. And I wish I could tell you how many of them we have right now. We did have a couple this past week, though, Doug. Had Coach Johnson from Doane. Had a real good visit with him, and I appreciated that. And I'm trying to think here. Who else did we get last week? Let me look at this really quickly. Avant Mitchell. Yeah, Avant Mitchell from Olivet Nazarene. That was a really good interview as well. So I had a lot of fun with that.
Well, you can look forward to seeing our Sooner Athletic Conference team-by-team preview coming up soon as we cover, and the bulk of all the games that we do are out of that Sooner Athletic Conference. You'll start seeing it the week of the 27th, I guess it is. Not this week, but next week is when you'll start seeing ours on that as teams start getting back into camp.
And I should have some of those Sooner Athletic Conference teams as well, Doug. Mm-hmm. So we'll double up on that. So Charles and Dave in particular, hope to get for Charles. We had Coach Stayback actually on the live show, which was cool. But we're hoping to get him a little bit later on. I think we may be able to get him in August. We'll see. And then Coach Ryan. Didn't get to visit with Coach Ryan last year, but he's been on the channel a number of times. And so I really hope we get a chance to visit with him as well. And some really good SIDs at both those programs.
I see Dave in there. Look, I'm counting the days down till we get into town. I'm excited about being on campus and seeing you guys.
Man, it's not that far away.
That's
46 days, Doug. 46 days. Well, I'll tell you what, let's do this, Doug. Let's get in. Let's talk some running backs tonight. Now, I know for at least the folks in the chat, which, by the way, if you're watching us live, go ahead, be a part of the community tonight. We enjoy it, letting us know that you're here, and let us know, if you're new to the chat, definitely let us know from where you're watching and who you're going to be cheering for in NAI football. But for the guys who have already showed up tonight, I know one of them, well, he has a wide receiver to his credit. So we'll talk about receivers next week, just a little bit of a spoiler alert there. And then one of them has a quarterback that he's concerned about. We talked about quarterbacks last week. So guys, don't drift on us just because we're talking running backs tonight. Doug, let's go ahead and get started with that really quickly. Running backs that are returning this year to their team, who could and should have an impact, not only on their team, but maybe on the conference and the NAI as a whole. And we were looking over these lists and thinking about who could show up on this list. I'd like to let you talk about the first one, Doug, because he was high on my list as well. Second in the country last year in rushing yards, 1,579 of those, 20 rushing touchdowns. Tay Saunders from Lindsey Wilson, All-American as well, and man, you got to have him on the list, right?
Yeah, you look. I think that was our consensus when you and I got together with our list, that you can't start your list out without Tay Saunders, who was first team All-American and is just going to carry the load on there, as my dogs are. So the Walmart deliveries guy is here, so they get crazy with it. But no, you're going to see that is what every other back is measured against this year. When he had the success that he had last year, and oh, by the way, he's coming back, I think it just puts Lindsey Wilson, it keeps Lindsey Wilson, as they always are, in every game that they play.
Absolutely. And, we talked last week about who's going to be stepping in at quarterback. And it doesn't matter who's going to be stepping in. By the way, I see that tool envy. We'll get to that. But it doesn't matter, I think, who steps in at quarterback there, because whether it is going to be Pryor Lamb or whether it's Tate Rice, of those two, or if it's somebody else, right, I think Lindsey Wilson in that quarterback spot, I mean, it is just an added bonus to be able to have a back in the backfield, strong like Saunders, who's to be able to take the load like that. And all that does is lighten the load on your QB, whoever it happens to be.
Look, back when the Ravens won their Super Bowl years back, they just managed the game. Don't mess it up for anybody else. And you let your offense goes through Tate. Now, what the question is, everybody else knows that too. We're not breaking any news. So they're going to come out and they're going to be prepared. But Tay has shown that he's not, that doesn't deter him much at all. One of the things that I did on my list too was look at some of the games and ones that jump out on us from the schedules too. And I like their matchup with Georgetown. These games, that's going to be one to watch, and we'll see what Tay's able to do in that one.
Absolutely. I think that as well. To address Tool Envy really quickly, always with the offense. We're going to start with the offense. We're going to get to some defenders a little bit later on, I promise. But, yeah, I think that's just the way it goes. It always starts with the offense. Doug, maybe next year we switch it up a little bit? I don't know.
Look.
I don't know. I go back to the 90s Braves commercials, okay? And the pitching staff, and they had the pitchers come out there, and, they were really frustrated because all anyone cared about were home runs. Hey, chicks dig the long ball, man.
That's correct.
That's all I'm saying.
Well, we're saving the best for last, too. That's what so, see, there's that.
There is
I got
that
you,
too.
buddy.
There is absolutely that, too. Okay, well, I didn't put my little Devontae Sanders banner down at the bottom, so we have to put that down at the bottom. All right,
there he is.
Doug, we're not going to give him as much time. Sorry. He's worth the time there, but he's not going to get as much banner time.
He'll be in plenty of headlines this season for us.
That's exactly right. All right, I want to put this one up here next because I think this one's a big one. I think Nathan Parker is going to have another good season. I think he had a good season last year, but I think they're going to have another good season this year, and I'll tell you part of it too. If you watch Taylor and their offense with Coach Mingo, I mean, this is an offense that is predicated on the ground game. Okay, so it could be one of those things where a number of players are going to shine. But in recent years, you've had one step up each time. Parker is coming back. Taylor is coming off that fantastic turnaround season where they were a +7 from 2023 to 2024, 9 wins in 2024. They dropped off that pace a little bit, and I think this is a very hungry team. I think that Coach Mingo, and just, visiting with him anyway, I mean, he does things the right way. He's got the right players, the chemistry, the culture, everything is good there. I think Parker is set up to have a good season. I know he was somebody on your list as well.
Look, I have him at number 2 on my list too, and I'd like to say that there's no ranking and no order for these.
Agreed.
But I think your list starts with Saunders, no doubt about it. But Parker is there as well because he's got that combination of power and durability. A lot of times you'll see a big power back and maybe they get worn out, but he wears defenses down, and that's what's going to be there. And I think if you look across the field and you say, hey, what do you think of this week's opponent? What do you think of next week's opponent? His likely response is who? Because he's preparing his game and he's going to go out there and he's just that big throwback running back that you like to see. And I'm excited about it.
A number of 100-yard games last year. There were 2 of them that were 2+ for Parker last year. 246 in a win over Kentucky Christian, 247 in a loss against Indiana Wesleyan. And I know that was a tough loss too because you've got your in-state opponent. There's a rivalry to that as well. They're not too far down the road from one another. That's a game that Taylor's going to have circled anyway on the calendar already, so that one could be another big one. I'm going to skip to one. Doug, let me go down here really quickly. Since we're talking about ground attacks as a whole, you just cannot not mention Friends.
That's
okay.
That's correct.
But it's tough to find someone that you say, okay, here's the guy that's going to step up. Now, the last 2 or 3 years, it's been Kavonte Baker at quarterback, who really has been the headliner there, who, by the way, Doug, just recently honored with an honorary ESPY. ESPN Wichita gave him the honorary ESPY for the male athlete of the year in the area. And so the way that's set up, he's going to get an ESPY award just like everybody else that shows up there for the big show that they have each summer. But other than that, go ahead.
Well deserved.
Absolutely well deserved. And hometown boy on top of that too. I mean, he's a Wichita kid, so that's really pretty cool. Well, kid, he's a grown man now.
Grown dude.
Family,
that's
that
right.
kind of thing. Nick Cordova, Michael Lopez, Judd Cheatham. I'm just dropping some names, okay? There, maybe we need a little bell that goes off every time we drop names. Those are guys who could step up and quote unquote lead the way for Friends. But I don't think there's anyone. There's just Doug. I don't see a 1,000-yard back on this team. I don't know that I see a 700-yard back on this team because it is just such an offense that runs by committee.
But you'll see a team that is up at the top of the leaders in the nation when all the dust settles. And so, contrary to what we just talked about in Nathan Parker being that back that's going to be your every down back here, you're not going to know who is who that's back there, and whoever's got the hot hand is who they'll stay with. And I know that's cliche as it is, but
it's the truth.
It's the truth. And when you've got a program and a process that you run, and you're able to plug in 4 or 5 different backs in there, well, that's the reason that they're so explosive on the ground game.
Yeah, and I don't know, Doug, have you ever had a chance to watch? I mean, I know you've seen a triple option, so I know you've seen that many, many times. And of course, as old as the two of us are combined, which is well into triple digits, Doug, right now I think it's 111 that we have right now between the two of us. That's a nice little number.
Round number is in.
That's Anyway, so we've seen the triple option before, and it's predicated to, and I like that word, but it is on misdirection, and there's a lot of misdirection in there, and the Falcons just have it going on, and then occasionally, just out of nowhere, Kavonte Baker throws a 50-yard touchdown pass, just because Coach Harrison thought, hey, look, this looks cool. I don't know exactly what he's thinking, but So you have to mention Friends, although you can't say, hey, it's going to be one guy. It is a committee.
It is, but that's what's going to continue to have Friends, as we said earlier, at the top of the rushing list forever. And when people do stack 8, 9, and drop a safety down in the box, that's when you have the opportunity to go over the top of you. So you have to stay back. You don't have to throw the ball a lot. You just have to let people know that you can throw the ball. And if you can get vertical and stretch that defense, man, that opens up more of this triple option, and it just is hard to stop.
Yeah, well, and the first 12 games of the season last year, it wasn't. So
that's correct.
Record-setting season for Friends and for Cavante Baker, 30 rushing touchdowns. That was just pretty impressive last year. Added to the record that he already had. Now didn't top Ernest Caesar's record. Just in case anyone's checking the math on that from a couple of years ago down at Texas Wesleyan, I think he wound up, I want to say officially with 42. I'll have to check on that. If James McBride is watching right now, their SID, he could probably check me for sure. But anyway, all right. Since we have Dave on,
so you had Friends as your number 3.
No, you said no rankings, and I didn't rank them.
Okay,
I just was talking about Friends because I thought I really don't want to go any farther without mentioning them because I didn't want to leave them out.
That's correct. Yep. Okay. So you just got them the third one you talked about. Yes. We're not ranking. That's correct.
Not ranking. No, I want to drop all these out here. No rankings tonight. Although let's put this here. Tool Envy has some Grandview ties, and he mentioned a lot last year that they're a problem. They are a problem. They were almost a problem to Grandview, almost too much of a problem to Grandview back in 2024. But the Vikings were just a little bit too much. I don't think they're done being a problem. I think, and if I'd like to get credit for this somewhere down the line, Doug. I think I coined this one, the Terry Harrison factor. It's a real thing. So wherever Terry Harrison is, it's that's a real thing.
Look, when you get a process and when you can make it as fun, and this is the 30,000 view, it's fundamentally basic. It's not. It's very intricate. But if you play your read, and if you're a fundamentally sound at blocking your guy, you don't have to do a lot of fancy stuff. You just go out there and execute, and you're going to bust a big one. And then there you go. Next thing you know, you've rushed for 600 yards in a game.
I'm still waiting to see if they can get that 6,000 mark. That's what I was going to say about the rankings. I actually had a top 10 list on the channel this past week, and we did mention Friends on that. I'm going to drop another one just because this week because they're fun. So I've got another top 10 list coming out on the channel this week. And yes, it's NAI football related. So you definitely want to do this. Since Dave's in the chat tonight, let's go ahead and I'm going to drop a Morningside reference. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and let me see if I've got this banner here. How about this one? Max Huff for Morningside. He had a solid season last year. Now, for him, actually went down. 657 yards rushing last year. That's almost half of his total from 2024. He had 1171 in 2024, Doug, and his rushing touchdown total was exactly half of what it was the year before. 6 rushing touchdowns in 25, 12 rushing touchdowns in 24. Now, here's my take on this, Doug. I think Coach Ryan is always going to have a solid running game, okay? I think there's going to be something there. But the passing game for Morningside in the whole time Coach Ryan's been there for sure, 20-some-odd years, I'm going to say 25 years. The quarterbacks, you've got NAI Players of the Year over and again. You have stellar receivers, of which Drew Selland is one of those. And spoiler alert, we're going to talk about him next week. So you've got that, but you've got the strong ground game as well. I think Huff is a big part of that. And I think what made the difference and why his numbers went down from 24 to 25 was this. In 24, it was kind of like a 2-quarterback system for the most of the year till Chevalier came along and stepped up in the last 3 games. Chevalier was pretty much the man all year in 25. There was a lot of passing going on, and so you didn't see the ground game with the numbers as much from Huff.
Right.
I'm not going to say that that's necessarily, I'm not going to predict too much for it, but Chevalier is not going to be back there this year. And on the roster right now, you got like 5 quarterbacks on the roster. Cash Parker, who had a part in the 24 season, is back. He's a senior this year. I'm not anointing him as the man or anything. Coach Ryan does all that. But I'm just saying he's there. I think Huff has a chance for a better season. I guess is what I'm saying, Doug.
I think he will, and I think he's got something to go out and prove this year as being that every down back and being the one that takes charge. And look, he's a competitor, and you won't get anything else. And that's testament to the 1,000 yards that he had prior to it. And he just adjusts and does his thing. And that shows you a little bit about the character of the young man, because what happens is if you don't get featured enough in this day and age, you pick up the telephone and say, who will let me play? Mm-hmm. Can somebody else let me run the ball? And Max shows that he's the ultimate team player, and he's just looking for Morningside to do their thing.
And I think what Sellen does and the rest of that receiving core for Morningside, it opens things up for him. I think it's an offense that, I mean, Doug, year in and year out, in recent years, I know there's a bit of recency bias here, so bear with me because I really hate recency bias. But in the last, let's go back last decade, you're going to see Morningside putting up 40-plus points a game, 50 points a game some years. And there's enough offense to go around. And a big part of it, too, is because of the great job they do on defense. Tool envy. Morningside has good defense. It's not talked about enough, but that's there. All right, so I wanted to throw Huff out there really quickly. Shout out to Justin. Justin joining late tonight. Been at church getting stuff up for Falls Creek tomorrow. Doug, that's an Oklahoma youth camp reference right there, Falls Creek.
I love it.
How about that? Well, have a great time in Falls Creek tomorrow then. And Matt, how you doing? Good to see you. Glad you're on board tonight. Dave, Max is very good. Hoping he gets a full season this year. Yeah, that was a part of it too. Javen Hudson is good too. Should be a good 1-2 punch. All right. Man, that's cool too. I'd love to see that as well. I just like to, there is something to the whole chicks dig the long ball thing. It's fun to watch games where scoring's there. But if you have a good, solid defense and you can shut somebody down, that's fun too. Doug, anything else there before I change banners?
No, that's good.
All right. Pick somebody. Your choice. Dealer's choice. Who's next?
Look, I'm excited about Jaleel Brown out of McPherson. He tremendous year there, and if he's not up in the conversation of a top list, we're not saying the top 5 list, top 10 list. Mm-hmm. He's as dynamic as you will find. He's a home run threat. Anytime he touches the ball, he can get up and get out there. He's going to lead the way for him. And I just think that he comes out there and he builds off of that second-team All-American ranking that he got this past season. Just a great guy to watch.
Yeah, McPherson's had some good quarterbacks of late too, and the offense is very, very strong there. The Bulldogs do a great job. It's almost unfortunate that there is such there's just a big group of teams right there in the mix there in that portion of the KCAC. When you got Friends, you got Southwestern, you got McPherson, all right there that are putting up some strong numbers, and they just battle it out week after week. I think you're right. I think Brown, there's a lot to his game. It's multifaceted, and I think that he's definitely someone to watch. More than 1,200 yards rushing last year. So he should be
and one of the things too, he catches the ball well out of the backfield too. Yes. That's one of the things you'll see. I think he had 400 yards receiving the last couple of years on there too. So it loads those numbers up a lot. It's like the old toss, I guess. If they're going to run that out of the backfield, the wheel to him, the screen out of the backside there too. You've got to watch him. He's as much of a dual threat running back as there is a dual threat quarterback.
Yeah, that's and wanted to mention that multifaceted. He's going to pick up a lot of all-purpose yards. In that too. That's funny too. I think about that sometimes. Just can we do I'll go ahead and drop something. So if anyone's listening later on and we ask the question, what have you learned on the show tonight? Here's one. All-purpose yards and total yards are different.
That's correct.
They really are different, and all-purpose yards are what you're going to see from a running back, a receiver, somebody that's a return man. Those are where you get those all-purpose yards, rushing yards, receiving yards, return yards that you get there. Your total offense is generally pretty much, if you want to talk about for an individual stat, not just a team stat, Doug, it's your quarterback because it's passing yards and rushing yards combined. That's all it is. Right. And so we're going to drop that stat tonight and see if that comes back later on. We get a chance to talk about it, whether it be on this show or another show. All right, Doug, I'm gonna throw one out here. Okay, how about this one? Landon Olson, Mayville State. Olson last year played in only 9 games, but rushed 505 yards averaged 5 yards a carry, led the way for Mayville State, and that's another one of those teams, Doug, that is, we talked about Taylor, we talked about Friends, you have to talk about Mayville State there because it's another one of those teams that has a ground first offense, and that's where they're going to pick up their yards, and Olson, I think, has an opportunity to have another strong season.
Yeah, and that's what you like to see. I love. So here was the problem coming up with this list. You and I have some differences on our list, and we've had to redo that. There are a lot of good backs that are out there, and Landon Olson is certainly one of those that steps up.
Absolutely. By the way, too, I like one thing that caught my attention about Olson. He wears number 42. That's a higher number.
That's an old school number. That's
out of
right.
the backfield. So that is all right. All right. Someone, Charles, is trying to steal my thunder here.
Yeah, so, sure is.
I'm going to take that back down. We'll get to it.
Get
here
to that because that's you go.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Let's go ahead and go there, Doug. I know you've got another one on your list since Charles dropped that one. And by the way, thank you very much, Charles. If you all have somebody that you think is good, let us know. We will get to Charles' choice, and we're just going to say, if you'll pardon the pun, Charles is in charge right now for picking our next one, and that would be, how about Javon Minor? I have a Javon Minor. There we go. I've got a banner for that, Doug. I was prepared. Minor, 1,129 rushing yards last year, 7 rushing TDs. And let's go ahead then and throw the comment back up there for Charles because he was prepared. 7 straight 100-yard games to start the season last year. When you run the ball and throw it across the field, it changes the dynamics of the game. You know, Charles, you're right just about every time you drop something on the comment there. But I think that goes a long way to help Graceland this year. If people are only looking at the North and all they see is Grandview, which they should,
right?
Because, two-time national champion. And they may just see William Penn, who had the season they've been looking for 3 years, and props to them because Coach Benavidez does a fantastic job. If they are overlooking what Graceland can do this year, I think a lot of folks are going to be surprised because that offense is going to go a long way. Minor can carry the ball. Minor can receive the ball. He can pick up those short yardage passes as well. But Minor was doing this last year, those 7 straight games to open the season. CJ was there for a little while, and then he wasn't. And there were changes and there were adjustments, and Minor pretty much stayed consistent all the way through after CJ went out with the injury. So, yeah, a lot to say about Minor. If they can, just like we mentioned with Morningside, if they can throw the ball, and we know they can, and they can throw it across the field like that, it's going to open things up to where Minor can just scoot through and I think he can have another good year. I think he looks at a possible 1,000-yard season again.
It's certainly something you would expect from Minor and his ability to catch the ball. And that's what makes these backs electric because it turns into an extra wide receiver or you're able to get the ball out on the edge where these big playmakers like Javon have space and speed to get down the field and you're able to do that. So that's one of the things that you can look at it. If a guy can catch the ball out of the backfield and if he can run the ball, you remember a gentleman that we had on our show a couple of weeks ago, Marshall Falk. He was one of the best at it. Roger Craig, San Francisco, was that way. Mm-hmm. These dual threat running backs, because how you've got a third down and big and you've got a guy wide open out in the flats and the back drops it, boy, that's just devastating. But when you've got one that can pull it in and go pick up the first, keeps drives going, it's electric.
Absolutely. Just to clarify, by the way, folks, Doug having on 446 Sports. We did not have Marshall Falk on the Sunday night show.
We had him right here. That's right.
Maybe someday, Doug. Doug has connections. So, maybe someday. Like the Roger Craig reference, too. That is,
see, I can go way back with it.
The North rapidly drawing closer to each other. And this is where, we have some fans of the Heart North on here. We're going to do the forum again this year, and I've already talked to some the guys that are a part of the forum. Doug's going to be in the forum this year as well. So our mid-August show where we preview NAI football as a whole. Man, Doug, my pick for the Heart North has not been made yet. Let me just say that.
Ooh,
has not been made yet.
That's
it
correct.
Is not in my mind.
We need to find a way to do that on site somewhere. start that show off in Fort Worth.
In Fort Worth,
where it's all going to end.
Yep.
That's right.
Okay. We're looking at, you know what? We need to do that. We need to do that.
See?
Already heard from Vince, by the way, from Varsity Sports out in Phoenix. He's already looking to do the show in December in Fort Worth. So we're gonna have a fun time down
it's
there.
Going to be a lot of fun. I think we need to be out there more than just a couple of days. Though we need to get on site and take over.
I have no problem. I've already talked with Mrs. Midwest Sportsnet about that. And I said I'd like to be there longer this time. She just rolled her eyes. So,
Look, that's fantastic. Look, and here we are talking about the end of the season, and we're still 46 days. Yeah. This is about the most excited I've been to start a football season because I am fully into NIA mode, and I love it.
It's going to be a good year. All right, Doug, do you have anyone else on your list?
Give
me a name, and I'll throw out a banner.
I'm not going to get to the one that you and I share on our list yet. I'm going to take this moment to give some flowers to the Wildcats and what they've got coming out. You've got coming back in Datelyn Cunningham, who was the Sooner Athletic Conference Athlete of the Year. It ran for 1,000 yards last year. Just a big, explosive power back. And with the offensive weapons that they have on the corners, and yes, we'll talk about one of their receivers next week as well, but what he's able to do. Plus, they've got Jatarius Johnson. They call him Joe, running back behind him. They've got a big stable. But here's where things get a little different. I don't care what back you are. You're not going to get the yards if you don't have the big hogs up front. And they return everybody, and that's going to open up a lot of things for Datelyn Cunningham. If you've not heard a lot about these LCU guys, I'm telling you, you're going to say, oh, Doug's just biased because he's calling them. Let's see how the dust settles out towards the end of the year, but keep an eye on Datelyn Cunningham. I actually called him in high school, and I called him Datlin for the entire time that he was in high school. One of the greatest touchdown runs he made, and I thought was my classic call. How about Dat? And then I find out in college he was so nice, he wouldn't correct me. And then when we got to LCU, somebody told me it was Datelyn. I said, it can't be but it was. Tremendous guy. Justin giving me a little grief down there.
Yeah, that is all right. Hey, listen, that's okay. We know where your loyalties lie, Justin. That's all right.
Wow.
The Wildcats. Well, we may have some discussion about who the Wildcats are.
That's going to be.
By the way, I love how Justin has the Baker in the logo too. So
that's right.
Profile pic. There's no question about that one. And Doug, I think obviously there's a little bit of hometown there. There's a little bit of homer there, and that's fine. I have zero problem with that. Mm-hmm. But Louisiana Christian's had 3 or 4 good years of late. You have to know who they are. I mean, if you're following NAI football, I realize the Sooner Conference hasn't done a lot to get your attention.
That's right.
As a conference, but you got to keep up with Louisiana Christian. Those Wildcats down south, they've made the mark.
And look, they've got a hometown guy back at head coach. His banner hangs underneath the stadium rafters. He was an All-American there. At LCU, met his wife there, is raising his family around this area. When you are that tight, and we've seen coaches that we've talked to on this show throughout the year, when coaches are bought into it, man, it makes a difference. He's recruiting a lot of the talent out of Central Louisiana, and it's making a big difference. Yes, I'm going to be a homer, and yes, I'm going to tell you about one of the cats each week, but y'all going to love it.
All right, cool. And you know what, Leo, your timing is perfect on this one. I'm glad you're here because I'm about to drop the next one on the list here. So glad you're here for this one, Leo. Let me throw out another banner here. I'm going to throw out Robbie Sharp. I think he's going to be someone to have an impact this year. If you haven't heard Robbie Sharp's name, well, it's probably a good reason. Now, unless you follow Benedictine, okay, if you're following Benedictine, you probably heard his name. He played. Benedictine was 12-2 last year, 14 games. The first 2 he wasn't in. Now, granted, those were against Grandview and I think Baker. So that to start the season, and you've got your power backs in there. Then the last 2 games of the season, Doug, the roster lots of times. Excuse me, not the roster. well, the roster may, but the rotation in just about any sport that you have, your rotation is going to contract a little bit as you get into the playoffs.
That's right.
Unless you have just some kind of wild card play or whatever the case may be. You see it in basketball as much as anything. I did it in basketball as a basketball coach, but I mean, I see it in football. I see it in other things. And you saw a lot of Dalton Witherspoon and Xavier Ugorji last year, obviously all the way through the season and the year before, but especially as you got into those last games in the playoffs. Both of them are gone.
That's right.
And you've got a whole new stable of running backs, and I think Robbie Sharp is one who's going to take the lead there. I think he's got an opportunity, a Kansas City boy, and he has an opportunity to step up and make some noise there. So, Leo, you got here just in time. Somebody I think who's going to have an impact in 2026, a running back, would be Robbie Sharp from Benedictine.
Look, you can't argue with that at all, and because he didn't get as much because of the two guys that you mentioned earlier, but he wouldn't be at Benedictine and he wouldn't be projected as a starting running back if he wasn't really good. So folks are going to see a lot out of him this year, and it's going to be fun to watch.
All right, Doug, one more that we have on our list, and
I think we share this one.
Yes,
and if
absolutely.
you remember, it gets close. If you remember the movie My Cousin Vinny, when he's in court and he calls them the Utes. No. It's the Yotes of College of Idaho. And one of the youngest guys that are out there that's going to make an impact is got to be on everybody's list is Riley Byington.
Absolutely.
Just stormed onto the scene last year. And, man, he's going to be fun, Joey.
I think so too. And I remember, of course, there was a lot going on with College of Idaho. And I think, I gave a lot of love to Montana Tech. I'll just say that. And with Hinchman 21, it was easy to give a lot of love to Montana Tech. And I probably didn't give as much love over the course of the year as I should have to College of Idaho. Now, don't get me wrong. I am a huge, and I mean, Doug, we're talking, okay, I'm going out of the screen now.
That's right.
Go to the screen. I'm going out of the screen now. My respect for Coach Morosky is just off the charts. The guy is he's a former NFL player, former NFL quarterback. When we were young, he was playing for the Falcons. I mean, when Doug and I were young, that goes back a little bit. I love every year getting to visit with him. He's one of my favorite previews. If you ever listen to a Coach Morosky preview, expect it to be about 40 minutes long. The rest of them, they're going to be 20 to 30, whatever the case may be. Coach Morosky's, it's going to be long. And I love every bit of it. And Doug, I go back and listen to it 2 and 3 times just to hear the wisdoms there and just to hear what he has to say. I did not give College of Idaho as much love as I should have. Caden Young, who stepped in, who'd been a backup for a while, like we talk about those guys who wait their turn. Coach Morosky had so many good things to say about Young. He steps in. And before I go too far on Byington, don't forget about Young's numbers too. Caden Young was in the top 25 in the country rushing numbers as a quarterback. I mean, that's up there with like Cavante Baker type numbers, okay? So that in mind, didn't want it to go beyond Caden Young. He's back. Byington is back. Man, Doug, Byington had such a fantastic season. If I get his numbers there, 1,203 yards, 16 rushing touchdowns. He had 145 rushing yards and 4 rushing touchdowns in that big win in the quarterfinals over who? Montana Tech.
I've got to, I don't know if my memory serves me correctly, but one on the panel picked College of Idaho on the upset over Montana Tech. Do you recall who that was, Joey?
Memory, it's a while. Doug, it was a long time ago. It was like a whole year ago.
Like my buddy Blake Shelton, who is from Oklahoma. So there you go. We get the Oklahoma tie in there. No, they're exciting to watch. They're going to be a lot of fun. And here's a little information for you too. College of Idaho goes out to Arizona to play Arizona Christian on October 31st.
Oh, are you saying?
So you're saying there's a chance we could go out and see the Yotes?
Well, I don't know. It's a 1 in a million. So you're saying there's a chance.
You're saying there's a chance. Look, that would be what an atmosphere that would be out.
It'd be a lot of fun
out that way. It certainly would be a lot of fun.
Keep that in mind. Dave was impressed with Byington. Very physical running back there too. And Justin had a chance to see. So we were just talking about Sharp Benedictine, second to the last game. Man, that's a big matchup every year too. Justin, if you're new to the Baker side of it, just know that Baker Benedictine matchup, that's going to be big no matter who is out there in either one of those uniforms. It's going to be big. Doug, 40 minutes in, and I think, well, we've done what we set out to do tonight. Talk about some backs that are going to have an impact this year. What do you think about the list?
I'm telling you, there are so many people that are left off of this list as well. It's going to be such a dynamic season too. Let me get my list right in front of me, but Dakota State's got has a real good one, and I don't have it in front of me. Dadgummit. Preston Iverson is going to be another one to keep an eye on too. Man, it's just everywhere you look. This season is going to be fun because each week on the recap shows, we're going to be able to tell you about who had their big games, who had the great games, and who is surprising us that maybe we didn't know about, those under the radar guys. And so that's something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because there were a couple more that I had that just almost made my list as well, and I think that it warrants mention. So let me drop that in there really quickly. One that I'm trying to say should still play in the NAI. Jaden Miller from Kaiser, strong back from Kaiser. And he wound up, traveling to your state, Doug. He's going to be playing for Louisiana Tech.
He's up in Ruston right now, home of the Peaches and the Peach Festival. It's not far from here, about an hour and 45 minutes northeast of where we are. Great school, great town, home of Carl Malone, and so he's going to do big things over there.
All right, so I say that. I mean, I didn't make that decision for him, but I'm partial to the NAI back. So anyway, props to him though for the opportunity that he's getting there. So that's one. And then someone else. Now, Doug, I'm going to throw this name out there. It's another Miller. Okay, it's another Miller.
Okay.
And there's a reason why this Miller didn't get the same attention as a 1,000-yard back that some of the other guys did. Okay, and that's Kwame Miller. Okay. He's from Madonna. Madonna won its first game actually on the football field last year, and we picked that game here on Midwest Sports Net, at least on my channel. I went on during the summer and went out on a limb and said Madonna is going to win a game this year. I have no doubt about it, and they went out and they won a game. And along the way, Kwame Miller had a pretty good season, 1,001 rushing yards. That's good enough to be a 1,000-yard back.
Exactly right.
I believe he's back for his senior season, so we'll check on that. But he's someone else who could have a very good year as well.
Justin has a tremendous comment there because you don't know with the rosters and you don't know who's coming in, but there are going to be a lot of freshmen around the way that are pushing for time as this season goes on, and that's something else to watch that we just can't put a finger on right now.
Yeah, and Justin, I've got a take on that one too. First off, we've been talking about returning backs, so that was the big deal that this particular night is about returning backs. But the other thing is, if you'll listen to some of the preview shows that we have coming up, because the coaches who will mention names occasionally will mention a freshman, not all the time though. I think that's one of those things. When I get a chance to talk to the coaches, and Doug, I'd love to hear your take on this too. And Justin, this one is for you and for everybody out there in the chat on that. I as a journalist, I know that I don't have to prep people a lot of times with what the questions are going to be. But sometimes I will, ask a coach, hey, listen, I'd like to talk about this. How do you feel about this? And it gives them an opportunity to prepare for some questions too, nothing hard or anything like that. But some coaches are more likely to talk about players, individual players, and some coaches just aren't. They either don't want to drop the names because they'd rather talk about, it's all winning about a team. It's all about the team. Some of them don't want to drop names because they feel like they're going to leave somebody out. So,
I think
some of them do, some of them don't.
I think that's the biggest thing is this. And look, here's a soapbox moment for you, Joey, that I didn't know that we were going to get on tonight. But you get a lot of these guys that unfortunately today has morphed into a social media world, and it's what can I post and what can I do. The exceptions are those guys that are out there grinding and doing their thing. But as a coach, you got to be careful of hurt feelings. And I know that that's a terrible thing to worry about, because look, if you want to compete, just go compete. That's the way that you do it. But coaches got to be careful of doing that, because now I'm going to transfer because he said that this guy's better than me, and that's a travesty. But I think that might work its way into it some.
Yeah. I just enjoy visiting with them, and Doug, I want to make them as comfortable as possible.
Yep, that's correct.
Because I just enjoy hearing, and of course we're all about the positive on this channel. I know on your channel as well, on College Football This Week, we're all about the positive. So we just enjoy talking about it. So Justin, I don't know. That's the other thing too, man. Doug, how about this one? Okay. Part of the reason that we don't know as much about incoming freshmen in the NAIA is because, and not everyone's going to like this particular take, but I'm going to throw it out there. You don't have a lot of 4-star, 3-star, 2-star necessarily that are going to the NAIA. And I've looked this up, and I've tried to find in the recruiting, where are all these going? I mean, you go to some of the websites now, and it lists all the 4-star players and 3-star players and 2-star players that are out there, and you don't see a lot of NAIA schools by their name. Now, Here's the other side of that. Who cares if it's a 4-star, 3-star, or 2-star player? If you're good enough, you're good enough. Doesn't matter what somebody else thinks of you when you're in high school.
Correct.
Go out there and play, and, it doesn't matter if there are stars attached to your name or not.
Look, Joey, that falls right into what I was talking about, though. It is a self-gratification time, and you'll see these guys posting, I got the 3-star, I got my 4-star, I've got ranked, and it's good. Look, and again, give them their flowers. I get that. But if you can get out there and prove yourself, go out there and do it. And that's why it's hard to gauge. But you look at some of the guys that have been successful in the NFL and went on to have long Hall of Fame careers. They're missing some stars. And you can count up all of the 5-star busts that are going out there in D1 world, especially in this day and age of a lot of money. You got stars that equals to this much money, and that's all that they base it off of. NAIA is such a pure level of football, Division II football, a pure level of football. And that's why you just got to let those guys play out with what they are.
Hey, Doug, how many 4-stars were on the Indiana Hoosiers team last year? just saying. I'm just throwing that out there. I mean, there may have been some. I don't know.
They were too old before they were before the star ratings were even out. These guys are. I said, oh, gosh, yeah, that's they're no bunch. But those are changed. And look, this freshman era, with that 5-5 that the Blue Dot has come along with, man, that changes some things too, because you got some guys that'll stay around a little longer. These freshmen are going to have to go somewhere, and so you may see some talent that's around that you may not have seen. And that's such a storyline, Justin, to watch, are the freshmen that come in and make an impact.
Yeah. Speaking of the 5-for-5, we do know, of course, the NCAA Division I. Now, this is Division I at this point.
Right.
Has put into play the 5 years of eligibility, or 5 seasons of eligibility in a 5-year stretch, and we're not going to go over that tonight, Doug. I don't want to do it, but we do know that it's something that the NAI, National Administrative Council, is going to look at within the next 12 months.
Right.
It is very likely to be somewhere in a vote in April of 2027. So, but that's a bit of speculation at the moment. I think it's an educated speculation, but anyway.
Yeah, I expect it to be in play next year.
It's not going to happen right now, and
Correct.
We've already said what we think about that. We'll talk about that another time. If you want to hear what Doug and I think, it's well documented. But you know what? Let's keep it for something else. All right, Doug. Let me see here. Is there anything else on my notes. Oh, hey, I thought this was interesting. St. Mary of the Woods College, which is a former Sprint football team,
Yep.
is going to be playing full-on NAI football in 2026. They're going to be in the Mid-States Football Association. It's the Midwest, which I expected it to be. They dropped their schedule online, 10 games this year that they'll be playing, and they play Defiance College, number one game of the season for them. They start their season opener with Defiance, so that one should be fun for them. So just want to keep that in mind. That is out there. And Doug, I'm sure you saw this as well. The NAI did drop this news on Wednesday that they are officially, the football championship game is headed back to Fort Worth. We thought that it would, but it is now official. It's been announced, and I'm thrilled about that.
It was probably the worst kept secret out of all of it because Steve and those guys in the Kansas City office were so pumped up about the way that it was, that the way that everything was handled. They even were talking about some expansion to their week. And that's why you and I have talked about being out there more than just a couple of days this time around. And so we're excited to get back there. And on another show, I did find out why it's called Funky Town. We'll get into that at a later episode also.
Yes.
But it's actually not terrible, okay? It's not terrible.
No, it is not terrible. That is true. It was an awesome venue, and it's likely I have had the privilege, Doug, the last 2 years to go down and be on the call for Sooner Athletic Conference volleyball.
Right.
And last year, in between Saturday or Friday night, they had the semis on Friday, the championship on Saturday, called all three of those games, and Saturday morning just drove over, watched Texas Wesleyan take on Wayland Baptist. It was the second time that I'd been there that year already. I was there 3 times in the fall last year, and you're right, Tool Envy, it is a fantastic venue. Man, high school football stadiums in Texas, there is nothing like them. And you're saying, whoa, NAI is having its championship at a high school? So absolutely. I mean, it is well worth it. Yeah.
You throw that out the window in Texas because a lot of your colleges are playing at the independent school districts fields. And these guys, if you don't think they take football serious in Texas, just playing one weekend and go out there for the high schools.
Yeah, it is. All right, hey, okay, Doug, let's we're going to get to what did we learn on the show tonight, but I wanted to talk about the championship that's officially back there. Good question, Justin. Is that 11-man, the Sprint League? Yes, it is actually 11-man, and don't worry about here. I'll go ahead and put this one up there. This division of football, don't worry about it. Sprint League is something else. It is actually there are NAI schools that play it. It's not limited to NAI. It's basically 11-man football, but there is a weight limit. That is the main difference in this. You can't be more than 178 pounds to play in the Sprint League. So it's allowing a lot of smaller players to be able to play. I say smaller players. I come in right now, as of right now, we're talking, what time is it, Doug? 8:55 on Sunday, July 12th. I think I'm 173. I'm just going to say that. I think that's it. I think that's pretty close.
So you can play.
I could play.
All right.
But here's the thing. Picture a bunch of guys, preferably with hair, I'm sure, that are about my size out there playing. So,
Well, the unfortunate thing is I don't qualify for the Sprint League right now. Too many road trips, partner. Too many road trips.
Yeah, there you go. So that's what it's all about. So they've moved out. Now, St. Mary of the Woods College is they're an NAI school anyway, so they decided to make that move. And there's another school that's making that move too next year. So keep that in mind from the Sprint League over. And I think we mentioned that last week. Tool Envy is going to plead the 5th.
Attaboy.
So
that's look. We're kindred souls, me and old Tool Envy. I can tell you that.
All right, let's get a couple more on here. And yes, Texas high school football is its own thing. There's no doubt about that. All right, Leo, good point. Nice stadium for a championship. It really is. Camera view with a higher angle on the field, and you have a lot of good views there as well. I like the setup, and also. And for some of you who may not be close to Texas, I mean, I'm right here. I live 15 miles on the proper side of the river, I might add. I am on the proper side of the river, Doug. But I live about 15 miles from Texas. I'm a Texan by birth. born in Corpus Christi, rock on, Lone Star, and all that good stuff. So I've got Texas in my blood. I'll be in about a week and a half. I'll be down at the Lone Star Conference Division II Media Days, football media days down there, and they do it at McKinney High School, and that's where the Division II championship is held.
That's right.
Is at another Texas high school football stadium. We're talking NCAA Division II. We're talking NAIA. These are fantastic fields, I guess is what I'm saying. The venues are absolutely off the charts, and they're, not only worth the trip, but it's a great experience too. And McKinney's part of that DFW, Metroplex as well.
Did you see when we were there around the championship time, all of the construction that was going on around outside of that big venue that they were building? When we go back this season, there's no telling what all is going to be different out there.
Yeah, I heard that I heard basketball venue.
Right.
Did you hear that?
That's what I'd heard, yes.
Okay,
Multi-purpose, right. I think, is what it was, those facilities, yep.
All right, let's see. Randy in the chat tonight. Many sprint schools are converting to play in NAI conference football. They are, and there's not as much call for it as much anymore, but it was a thing. It was a thing way back when.
Right.
But anyway, all right, let's see here. Justin makes recruiting interesting, moving up to the NAI. Yeah, because you're going to have to, I mean, that's not to say that your entire team couldn't make the move, but man, you got to recruit some big boys up front, because people that look like me they're going to get run over. I don't care how big your muscles are, guys. Moving 173 is not going to be a deal for some of those guys on the offensive line.
When you're 3+, that's right.
All right. Leo, really quickly, which school in the heart is adding football? That would be Mount Mercy. And, there you go. Tool Envy's already on it. All right, Mount Mercy, the Lancers of Mount Mercy. And actually Doug, I made a Mount Mercy graphic yesterday. So I'm already on that. Made my Mount Mercy graphic. So, they're coming in. Coach Daniels is leading the way for them, and they announced that about, I want to say, right at 2 years ago. So this has been in the works for a while, so I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. So there we go. All right, Doug, let's get to this point, and I will ask the chat as well tonight. I know Justin learned something, so just throwing that out there. What did you learn on the show tonight, Doug?
I learned that the running backs in this league are going to be explosive. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. It's going to be difficult to end up with a first and second team All-Americans, but man, what a joy it's going to be to follow along for the ride of this thing. Can Saunders get up towards 2,000 yards? Can he do that? Yep. What's Parker going to do on there? Am I going to be right when I told everybody of what an explosive back Datelin Cunningham is? We shall see. One thing I know, it's fun.
All right, let's go ahead and put it down again. We need to day stamp this one as well, because hopefully it's motivation for me to drop off those other few pounds I'd like to get. Doug, it's always the last few pounds, right? Where you have a goal to get to. So July 12th, what I want to get to, and July 12th, mark it down, because Doug wants to be right about Cunningham.
That's correct. So, we're going to be there. The rest of them, the cream is rising up. You certainly know that. But there are going to be 3 or 4 guys. One of them may be one of those freshmen Justin was asking about. But there's going to be 3 or 4 guys that step up and go, wow, look at this. And he's going to have those D1 phones ringing, like some folks lost some players to D1, like Kaiser did. You're going to have that phone ringing. Who are these guys going to be? That's what's going to be part of this big journey.
Yeah, I think for what I learned on the show tonight, and it was more in the study, but I went back and I think that the biggest thing for me tonight was just really refreshing my knowledge on College of Idaho, because I hadn't really studied as much on the Yotes in the off season. Of course, now we're in the preseason officially here as in the month of July, so we have deemed it so, and thus it is. Preseason right now, and I think just going back and looking at College of Idaho again and just refreshing myself on what the Yotes did, and what Byington brought to the table, what Caden Young brought to the table.
Yep.
That was a lot of fun, and I think I enjoyed that as much as anything.
There you go. And now the community, if they don't have anything and they didn't learn anything tonight, that's tough. Hopefully they have a lot of fun though.
I hope so too. I like I said, I know Justin learned something, so I hope some other folks did as well. All right, as you get a chance to put it there. Here we go. Fun fact. Wow, there, that's a nice fun fact. All right, the Yotes are the last team to beat Grandview. Valid, absolutely, that is valid. Good point, man. And that would be in 2023. It's been a long time. So, all right.
And there's our buddy Justin learned a little bit tonight, so that's good.
Schools that claim to be the Wildcats. Oh man,
great.
Learn more about the Sprint League.
This is what football's about. That's just great.
Yeah, you know what? And Leo, I've never seen a Sprint League game. I've just read about them, so I'd like to actually see one. I want to get some video and watch one of those. So. Maybe we can pirate some video and drop that on here sometime soon, Doug. Since we're talking about it.
Absolutely.
All right, we're at the 1 hour mark, Doug. There's not a hard break here, so we're not going to network commercials or anything like that. But let us know what's happening on 446 Sports this week.
Look, the highlights are rolling. We started our previews along. It's a fact-finding mission and just getting ready for it. We did get our flight booked to up to the Benedictine and Morningside game, so we're pumped about that. But this week is kind of slow on our live streams. These 3 weeks of July is when I put on the coat and tie and we go out and be CEO and salesman, Doug, and we fund all of this stuff. So you'll see a lot of interviews. We've got Media Day tomorrow. That's at the high school level for local here, but it's a slow week on the channel, except for previews. We'll have previews out. We'll have some videos out, but thankfully we're not lugging the equipment up and down and streaming anything right now. But it's a coming.
Absolutely. All right, I'm putting these up here back to back. It has to be fast paced. Called sixth grade football. Joey, you've seen it.
Tulane is on point.
Oh man, Tulane, I was this tall and a $135 when I graduated high school. In sixth grade, I was not even close to that. I don't know what. Oh my goodness, we're going all the way D1 here, so. Man, we don't do a lot of Big 12 stuff here, but why not? There we go. Your mark. Hey, Doug. Okay, I'll use this as a segue to go into Midwest Sports Net. What's happening on Midwest Sports Net in the next 2 weeks? Okay, Big 12 Media Days were this past week. So Texas Tech not picked at the top, picked second, I believe, behind BYU. So just in case you're following Division I football, and of course, I'm right here in the heart, or what used to be the heart of Big 12 footprint. The Big 12 footprint's all over the country now. But I will be at Media Days in 2 conferences, Division II conferences, not next week, but the week after that. You're going to see a lot of content on Midwest Sports Net, not next week, this coming week, the week of the 13th through the 17th, but the week after that, you're going to see a lot more, okay? Also, lots of previews this week. I've got some volleyball previews. I have football previews. And one other thing, and you won't be able to see this just yet, but I get to be I get to help out a conference. And it's not football, though. Men's soccer. So I'm going to be helping with Men's Soccer Media Day and the KCAC. Nice. So I get to visit with a lot of soccer coaches this week as well. And why not? I don't know if any of you guys saw, I've been rocking the World Cup mug, and Mrs. Midwest Sportsnet is emotionally distraught, Doug. She is emotionally distraught because Norway has lost.
Oh no.
I know.
That's who to cheer for now?
Well, it's like England, France, Spain, I don't even know. It's a bunch of European teams, and it's not Norway, though. I mean, I know Norway's in Europe, but she followed them well. The Scottish team, when they were over here, we were having fun following the
it could be
United
worse.
States team, yeah. But
it could be worse.
How's that?
You could step into the octagon for the first time in 5 years, and never mind. That's a UFC 3. Yeah, that's
okay.
how disappointing and rigged and fixed is that thing. Everybody made millions, and the whole world went said, "Yeah, that's right." There's some UFC folks that know what, that tragedy and travesty that it was last night.
I am so sorry that I don't know that, Doug. I'm really sorry. I'm going to show this one to Tool Envy, though. I actually got to go to a watch party at Texas Live, and got to watch the U.S. and Australia, and I got a scarf out of the deal. So that was a lot of fun too. Now I had to buy the cup, but the scarf I got that for being and that was really cool. Yeah, I know but still, it was fun. That's okay. All right, let's keep this up here really quickly. Go Pokes. Well, absolutely. If you don't know, do you know, Justin, that I am an OSU alum? Just saying. So,
did you say an LSU alum?
I said OSU alum.
Oh, my bad.
That's America's Brightest Orange. By the way, America's Brightest Orange is going to have a better year than 1-11, but they're not going to have a Texas Tech year. Big Ten, SEC are going to have a heyday with your mark making a bad deal with Monster Energy. Hey, and the guys at Texas Tech, by the way, and I'm trying to recall I know the donor's name anyway. The big guy, he's telling everyone in the Big 12, everyone needs to start ponying up. The Big 12 needs to raise a lot more money. So that is that as well. All right, Tool. We need to wrap it up. Tool Envy, yeah, that's whatever. All right. Oh, I really liked you. Okay, there we go. Go Pokes. There we go. All right. Anyway. Yeah, Doug, sorry. That's all right.
Aren't y'all is that the ones that comes out in the little wagon and
absolutely
the whole,
not.
I don't follow that much.
I know you're an SEC guy. That's okay. Hey, my Vols, that's the other orange team.
That's right.
I listen, I will cheer for America's Brightest Orange and I will cheer for Volunteer Orange. The only orange I will not cheer for is that burnt kind. That is a nasty orange, and we just don't talk about that here. All right, Doug, the wheels are starting to come off. So before we do, let's wrap it up. Doug, 446 Sports, you need to check it out. Definitely want to check that out. And where can he find you? 446sports.com. But also, they can find you on YouTube at 446 Sports. If you have not subscribed to Doug's channel yet, you need to do so. He's got a lot of good stuff there. Recom Tech. Well, okay. I'll give it. That's fine. I'll give it tonight. That's all right. Appreciate you stopping by. Old Texas Tech Man, thanks for stopping by. Leo, thank you for stopping by tonight. Tool Envy, appreciate you being there. Justin, thanks for being here. Randy was on the chat tonight. Dave was here a long time ago, so I appreciate Dave being there. If you're still here, Dave, man, God bless you. You were always a trooper. I did mention Tool Envy. Matt was in tonight as well. I think I mentioned Leo at the outset. Charles from the very beginning. Charles was in charge of at least a portion of the show tonight, and I think that I got everybody. Doug, I think I got everybody.
I think you got everybody. That's correct. Great job by the community again, getting going. And we didn't have a coach, but we didn't have any concerns. There's Big Dave still in the house.
That's right. Dave's a trooper, man. Dave is an absolute trooper.
47 days until Joey and I see you.
46.
Well, that game's on Saturday. So
that's right.
Right at 48. It's 47 and 47 hours.
That's right.
47 days and a little less.
Sorry. I was thinking Thursday, but you're right. You have something else to do on that Thursday night too, don't you?
Yes, I do. We got a little tussle up in Natchitoches. LCU and Northwestern State are battling in that one. We'll be in Baton Rouge with high school football the next night, and then we'll stay over and fly out and meet you at the airport in Omaha, and away we go.
That's right. That's right. That is the plan. Charles, man, it's time to go to bed. I know what time zone you're in. If the allergy pills have kicked in, it's time to go to bed. You guys are a blessing. You're absolute blessing. I appreciate every one of you. Doug appreciates every one of you as well. Yes. Every now and again, I'll speak for Doug, and I will do it right then. So, a lot of running backs, and we didn't get to all of them tonight, but a lot of them are going to have great seasons. The ones we talked about, we expect them to have some great seasons as well. Let's talk some receivers next week. And we will try to do that. Okay, Dave, I have to say, all right.
This is peer pressure at its finest.
Yeah, it is. Here's the thing, Dave. I can't tell you all that's going on behind the scenes here. I cannot reveal what's going on behind the curtain just yet, but I'm trying. We'll just say I'm trying, okay?
Look, I'm working on us having a college game or a college set. I'm sorry, I don't know what
Midwest Sports Saturday.
That's what you call it. Look, we got so many different shows; it's hard to keep up with. But if you can imagine, we do it from the campus for that top 5 matchup. I'm
great.
Just saying.
The point is, Dave, I'm trying. I just had been keeping a lid on it, but we're trying. Anyway, all right. For Doug Gann, I am Joey McWilliams. Sorry we have the same outro this week. I didn't change the outro, but that's all right. We'll have a new one next week. It is always a privilege to get to visit with you all. If you're still watching tonight, as Dave and Charles both are, since the outset, and all of you coming in all the way through, thank you. You guys are awesome. If you're watching the replay and you're still watching us, you are an absolute trooper, and we appreciate you. God bless you. You guys have a great Sunday. We'll be back again next Sunday night, and we'll do it all over again, 8 o'clock Central Time. Be right here on 446 Sports or Midwest Sports Net. God bless you all. You guys have a great, great week.